and today we are going to discuss and interview people throughout this news report about their opinion on the Chinese one-child policy, which has just been enforced. The problem and reason the policy was enforced was because China's population was increasing at a too fast rate. And if we were to continue at this speed, the country will run out of resources and some important consequences will take place. Now, over to my colleague who will tell you more about the Chinese population problem.
As Lisa said earlier, the Chinese are going through a long-term phase where the population is rising at a too fast rate, and that some laws will be made to control the population growth. Some Chinese citizens agree with this future law and some are protesting against this. Let's hear about some of the Chinese opinions and the solution about this overpopulation. Are you reporting directly from Beijing?
Thank you, Anna. Now, I am in the center of Beijing, and I'm going to interview some people about this future Chinese policy that the Chinese government has declared. What is your opinion of this future policy?
I think that this law is incorrect. It may slow down the population, but there's lots of bad and negative effects to this. Children's lives are being lost just because they're girls, and if the parents ever accidentally have another child, they can't pay for it.
Now, let's ask another person of their opinion.
I think that the government made the right decision choosing this law because the country is becoming way too overpopulated, and if the government doesn't do anything right away, sooner or later we will run out of resources and the country will be in great danger.
I was Jiayu directly from Beijing. Let's talk about the solution that the government is offering to control the too fast population rate. First solution is only allowing the Chinese women to have one single child. This solution causes problems. Women generally prefer to have a male, and if they only get one chance of getting a child, this law will upset some people. Let's hear some more information from Martine.
Thank you, Lisa. This is another solution that will hopefully calm the citizens of China with the one-child policy. The Chinese government is planning to create exceptions for this law. Here are some of them. It will only be considered to Chinese citizens. If your first child is a girl, you will have another to get a boy if you're lucky. Both of your children will get free education and medical services.
In 2014, we have finally seen the impacts and results of the policy. We are going to be determining whether this policy was a success or failure because there have been both negative and positive impacts. To help us make our final decision, we will interview different people throughout this news report so that we can have an overall understanding of their perspective now on this policy. Now, let's hand over to Anna, my correspondent.
Thank you, Lisa. As she mentioned earlier, this policy had some negative impacts and positive impacts, but mostly we are here to see whether the Chinese president made a successful decision 35 years ago. Hand it over to Jiayu.
Now, let's interview some different people about the one-child policy. Did it affect them? Let's see. The first person we are interviewing is Yu Rou. And she is a Chinese farmer who has worked on the fields her whole life. How did this policy affect you, and were they positive or negative impacts?
This one-child policy has affected me majorly. By only having one child, I barely have any help on the field, and my profit is decreasing every year because I'm producing less food to sell.
The second person we are interviewing today is Li Mei.
Hello, I am Li Ming and I'm an only child. I really enjoy it because I get everything I want and my parents care a lot for me. So I have the full experience at life.
I'm going to interview a sweet couple that got married 5 years ago and only has one child, and how this policy had affected them.
We are so thankful about this policy because that means that our boy child can have everything he wants and can be very successful.
This also means the public will be less crowded and everyone can have a better lifestyle.
Thank you, everybody that has participated for this interview. And now, I'll give the time back to your host.
Thank you, Jiayu. As you have seen, there are many different impacts which have resulted from this policy. Considering every fact, we have decided that yes, this policy was a success. This is because the aim of the policy was to decrease the birth rates and slow down the population. This did happen once the policy was created, meaning that the policy did work.
The policy did reach its aim, but what about all the female infanticides? Everyone is favoring boys as sons because they will be able to take care of them in the future. And the boys can continue the family name. The effect of doing this leads to abandoning and putting girls on adoptions and leaving an imbalance in the genders.
Yes, this does create quite a large impact. However, the Chinese government never said that if this happened, it would result in the policy being a failure.
I understand, but doesn't all the negative impacts outweigh the positives?
This is only a small scale, whereas if you look at the national scale, the negative impacts aren't as important.
Or possibly any other ways to make this policy better and less negative impacts and more positives.
Yes, they could possibly try and change it to make it a two-child policy because this gives the family a 50-50 chance in case they want a boy without having to abandon or find illegal ways to get rid of their child, which is a girl.
Well, they are considering to change some rules toward the policy, but not yet, so we are hoping this can be changed.
Yes, hopefully they do change the policy. And thank you for tuning into BSN. We will do more information if anything happens. See you soon.